Okay? Give me a break. It's not flattering. And just like this photo of Megan's derriere is not flattering, the whole MasterChef appearance also not flattering. Such a terrible, terrible move on Megan's part. I don't think, in my opinion, that MasterChef invited her. I really do think that Megan's people reached out to MasterChef. They knew they were going to be in Australia, Harry and Meghan anyway. So she's looking for anything she can do to tie into this As Ever brand to try to give herself any type of street cred she can to say, oh, I'm such a wonderful cook and I'm such a wonderful lifestyle hostess and guru. Look, I'm on MasterChef too. Look how great I am. That's what that was all about. If you have ever watched any type of cooking show, this was really, really cringe inducing. It was a hard watch. Okay. My husband watches tons of these shows. He's always watching Top Chef. He's always watching these cooking competition shows. I've watched a few with him as well in my day. Not as many as he does. I'm not as into it, but I know enough about these cooking shows to know that the hosts and the invited guest judges that are on these shows always have something to bring to the table. They have a background. They're restaurateurs, they're chefs, they're restaurant owners. They have a name for themselves in the world of food. They know what they're talking about. They have insight. They have thoughtful instruction, things that they bring to the table to these intense cooking shows and these intense cooking competitions. And all Megan brought to this show was her fluttering and floating around. She can barely position herself on these high heels. She's sashaying and swaying her hips all around, fluttering and batting her eyelashes at these male contestants, flipping her hair around, throwing her head back again, flashing the veneers, trying out this self-effacing persona where she's like, oh, giggling and, touching the arms of the other hosts. It's exhausting to watch. It's all attention seeking. It's all calling attention to herself. It's all the me, look at me, Meghan, me, Markle. She had nothing to bring to the table to these competitors. They asked her questions. The hosts were asking her pointed questions. They asked her, what do you like to cook? What ingredients do you like? What types of dishes do you like to make for your family? All of it. She could not give any type of definitive answer. She couldn't speak with any type of confidence or authority, even in, coming from her own experiences. All of her responses were vague. She would trail off into these weird, back roads, never answer the question. The guy asked her, the host said, what do you like to cook for your family? She couldn't answer. She said something like, oh, I'm dealing with so many palates. I don't know. I'm like, you have a family of 4. You're cooking, Meghan, supposedly, allegedly, for 3 other people. Okay. Harry and the 2 kids. She's always talking about the kids. And on the show, she made an effort. My kids eat Brussels sprouts. Whenever my kids ask for dessert, we grow all of our own strawberries. We grow all of this. So I say, okay, go to the backyard. Whatever you can pick, you can eat. Like, okay, well, that doesn't sound like picky eaters to me. So if that's indeed the case, what are you going on about? You can't say, I make a wonderful inviting pot roast for my family when it's cold outside. Or during the summer, I love to make wonderful fresh desserts for them. I make homemade ice cream. Or, I love to make a wonderful fish dish with rice and lime and cilantro, just anything. Give us something, Meghan. She doesn't even have a prepared answer in mind for when people ask her, what are your favorite dishes? What are your favorite ingredients? She said something like, I like to cook with fresh herbs. I'm thinking to myself, what? Okay, dried herbs can be fresh too, right? But it's like, can you narrow it down a little bit? Okay, yeah, fresh ingredients, fresh herbs. Okay, wonderful. Well, what's the alternative? What could she have said? I like to cook with old rotten ingredients. Are you kidding me? And then in the middle of her hesitating and kind of, biting her lip and hemming and hawing, like, what's she going to say next? She tries to buy herself time by saying, oh, is it Herb or is it, because you know how the Brits say herb and Americans say herb, like we don't pronounce the H. And she's talking about that because she's just trying to buy time. She's just trying to kind of jump to some other thing that she can say to kind of take everyone's attention away from the question that she can't answer. And the hosts were buying in real quick that she couldn't even answer the questions themselves when they were asking her about ingredients that she likes. And she was like, oh, I would probably cook with the tops of these carrots because we grow carrots and I would make a pesto and at one point the other judge was like, yeah, just so many things, Megan, right? She's like, yeah, so many things. It's like they were all trying to compensate for her because she couldn't formulate a simple answer to anything. And when I was talking about the way she was sashaying around the set, that's exactly what she was doing. I don't know if you guys watched the whole episode like I did, but even in some of the clips where she's just kind of like sashaying around, she has her elbows kind of locked to her side with her hips swaying and her wrists kind of gliding, and she's sashaying around and she's calling out the 30-minute time crunch for the competition. And the other judges on all of these shows, they literally scream out 45 minutes, half an hour, 10 minutes, 5 minutes, so that the contestants know they can get going. But she's just like, oh, I don't yell. I'm just going to go sashay over to each of the male contestants' workstations and tell them personally. So she makes a point of sashaying to every single one of their stations saying, hi, I'm here to tell you 30 more minutes. I'm here to tell you personally. What a waste of time. Just yell it out, Megan. But she has to point it out that she's so elegant. She's so refined. She's so everyone's buddy and down to earth. And she can't yell at them. She's just going to tell them as a personal favor, go up to each of them. And it seemed like, unfortunately, the four remaining contestants, all male, I might point out, it seemed like they were all enthralled with this shtick she had going on, buying it. The other female judges weren't for any hot second, but all these guys were fawning over her. They were all buying it. But let's get real here and call it what it is. Most men don't pay attention enough to Meghan and the royal family and all the drama going on to know about this woman, to know what she's about. All they know is that she's some middle-aged mom batting her eyelashes at them. And, she figures that that's her currency and this is what she's getting away with. And this is what she has to offer on this show. But again, it was just so weird and it was just so cringe inducing. There was no direction. There was no bit of knowledge that she could impart to them from her experience. Nothing at all. And most of the time she was just listening to what the other judges were saying, nodding in agreement, or just, always having her hand in front of her mouth with these pensive kind of, It was very forced. It was very stilted. And then to have that supposedly impromptu FaceTime call that Harry did in the middle of this taping, that was so fake, you guys. There was no way on God's green that Meghan didn't know that that call was going to come in. Let's get real here. Let's take a big reality check. No way that she didn't know that that call was going to come through. But think about it. If you really were taking that show seriously and taking those competitors seriously, you would have never have allowed that to happen in the first place. All that did, that little segment, was take away from the competition and take away from what the contestants were doing in that moment. These were the four semifinalists, and it was toward the end of the show when things were starting to get a little bit, dialed up for everyone. Everyone was just in the thick of it. And then here's Harold of the Realm calling Meghan, talking about, oh, yeah, these sauces are so great. I wish you were here, my love. What a waste of time. And not only that, but again, if you were really into the show and respectful of the contestants and say he did call, any normal, rational person would be like, what? Like, is this an emergency? Is everything okay? It was so forced. It was so scripted. It was so unnecessary, and in my opinion, just showed how absolutely selfish Harry and Meghan are. All Harry and Meghan care about is Harry and Meghan. And, I'm sure when you think about it from the point of view of the producers of MasterChef, I'm sure that they wanted some type of Prince Harry association in the show. Meghan probably didn't want him actually there stealing her thunder in person. So I'm sure that that's what her and the producers cooked up. Make it seem like it's this impromptu phone call, but oh God. Anyway, totally vomit inducing, but yeah, that was just my whole take on this whole MasterChef thing. Just very uncomfortable to watch. Very selfish of Meghan, very selfish of Harry. All this appearance served to do was just call attention to herself and in her mind to elevate her fledgling brand as ever. That's the whole reason why I thought she was even on that show. So you guys have to let me know what you think about all of this in the comments down below. Let me know what you thought of her latest Instagram photo dump. Did you watch the entire episode of MasterChef like I did and live to tell the tale? Yeah, it's just too much. And like I said, I am so tired, still jet lagged from this overseas move, moving a family of 5 and a cat and getting my kids enrolled in school. We had to buy a car, all this stuff we have to do for the house. It's just exhausting, so exhausting. But I'll tell you something, not exhausting as this must be for Meghan to keep all of this up, all of this relentless in your face PR, all of these photo dumps, all of these people articles, all of these appearances on all these shows, all of these speeches she does. I mean, there literally is no rest for the wicked. Am I right? I don't understand why this woman isn't in a hospital recuperating at this point because this is just exhausting. Can you imagine being Meghan 24/7 of this, plotting and planning all of this? I can't even. But anyway, like the video, share the video. If you have a hype button, if you're watching on your mobile phone and there's a hype button, please hype the video. Help me out. Please, you guys, if you can, give me a little bit of grace for the next few weeks or so. Like I said, we don't even have furniture right now in my house. I have no setup. So I'm going to try to upload as I can. I've got some Priscilla videos coming up, some more Child Bride videos coming up, of course. But yeah, thanks so much for spending this time with me. I love you guys so much, and I will talk to you very, very soon. Bye.